Well, it seems very nice that that one football stadium somewhere in the country is allowing the Chiefs and the 49ers to play to a sold-out crowd of Taylor Swift fans. Good job, guys. Welcome to the Cinefanatics. It is the Tagline. My name is Robert Adams.
I'm Chris Adams.
Yeah, that would have been funnier if she was actually performing the halftime show. Then we could have gone back to that old joke that we hear a lot of people say, like, how nice of them to be having a football game during the Taylor Swift concert.
That would have been funnier if we went with my plan.
I mean, it was kind of last minute. Usually we like to think of these jokes well in advance, but whatever.
Listen, we try to work on our improv here.
Yes, and
Taylor Swift.
There we go. Finally, nailed a yes and joke. I guess. Whatever. We tried. Welcome to the show, as if you want to call what we're doing right now a show. You know the YouTube thing, streamlabs.com/cinefanatics. Any questions, comments, issues, complaints, put them right up there. Also, patreon.com/cinefanatics. If you feel like this craziness is worth your monetary support and you have the means to support it, please hop on the tier that is good for you. There's a $1 tier, $5 tier. It's your only two choices, so not hard. A $1 tier gets you access to our Discord. $5 gets you access to the Discord and also the monthly Patreon things we do. Like tonight, we will be doing our Patreon watch-along of Captain America Civil War. That is going to be later tonight, 8 Pacific, 11 Eastern. If you are on the $5 tier, you can join us in the voice chat on our Discord. Very likely, if you have Disney Plus, we'll probably do like a group watch. So that's the easiest way to do these. So yeah, hop on that $5 tier if you want to watch Civil War with us tonight. The Captain America movie, not that one that's going to be very, very controversial that's coming out this year that we talked about on the marquee last Friday.
I feel like you didn't have to spell that out for people.
You know, it was a way for me to mention the marquee that was on this past Friday. We did our most anticipated movies of 2024. Don't question my logic. Anyway, so if you haven't seen that, go check that out because there's movies that got higher than they probably should. There's movies got lower than they probably should. Where are they going to end up? That will be an answer or a question to answer January of next year, where we look back and go, wow, that movie really was bad, or wow, that movie was amazing.
You know, that does bring up an interesting question. I wonder how many memes and stuff there will be online of a Tony Stark versus Steve Rogers situation when that movie comes out.
When what movie comes out? Oh, Civil War? Yeah.
When what movie comes out? The hell are we talking about, man?
What way? Why are you saying it that weird?
Saying what way?
Saying what way?
Cool. Yeah. Anyway.
That's so much fun to do. I almost want to do that while talking to customers over the phone. You're like,
what's up?
Yeah. Well, you don't answer a professional phone call. Hey, it's Robert. What's up?
What's up? What can I do for you?
How the hell are you? Yeah, no, that's not what you do.
Hey, how's it hanging?
Anyway, so that is coming up tonight, that watch along Captain America Civil War. It's, I'll be honest, I think the Captain America movies, those are like probably the three solidest movies in my opinion. Probably up there with like Guardians out of the whole MCU. The 3-film trilogy.
They're pretty dang solid. I mean, listen, I think the 3 Spider-Man movies are really great too. I know a lot of people have problems with Far From Home, but I loved Mysterio. I was waiting for him as a bad guy forever. So Spider-Man movies are pretty good. Thor, Iron Man, yeah, Captain America's pretty good. Yeah. Hulk only had 1 movie.
Yeah, that's what I say. Probably Guardians. Guardians is the only one I could think of that, for the most part, all 3 movies were pretty solid.
Ant-Man.
Ant-Man was close. If they could have stuck the landing a little bit better on Quantumania, sure.
All 3 Avengers movies were really good.
Age of Ultron,
2012, Infinity War, and Endgame.
Yeah, that's a correct statement right there. But yeah, so we're doing Civil War tonight again. Really good Captain America movie. or Avengers 2.5 or whatever you want to call it. Coming up, so last Friday we did the marquee. We're going to do another one next Friday. Not this Friday, but next Friday. We will be tier ranking Henry Cavill movies.
Now, you might be asking, why aren't we doing it this weekend? Because isn't Argyle coming out this weekend? Yes, it is, and we are going to watch it. We are going to have a review for it. That'll be going up on this channel. However, we didn't want to do back-to-back marquees.
Yeah.
So,
and I feel like Henry Cavill's one of those like eternal type of actors. We could actually do this like next month, and it will still probably get the same amount of views because everybody loves Henry Cavill.
He's evergreen. And
I'm trying to be positive.
I mean, listen, there's that Guy Ritchie movie, which, we didn't do a trailer reaction for that, but
we should have.
The thing is that movie looks fantastic. And that's also starring Henry Cavill looking very unhinged, and I'm all about it.
Yeah, when does that come out?
Sometime this year.
Okay. William Harold, it is just movies. Yeah.
Just movies, yep. We'll get into like TV shows and stuff whenever we do like Marvel Cinematic Universe rankings, or we do probably when we inevitably get to Star Wars rankings. But that's about it. Usually it's going to be shows that are related to the movies, products, but franchises that start as movies.
Yeah. Not to mention, again, Witcher, I believe, is one of those kind of like medieval fantasy. So again, if you're fans of our channel here, you might know that's not necessarily the direction we tend to go in our choices.
It's also based on a game we didn't play, based on a book we didn't read.
Yeah, that too. So, anyways. So that is coming up. That is going to be Henry Cavill movies tier ranking. That is going to be Friday, February 9th, 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern. And then, as my brother said, we are going to go see Argyle tomorrow night. So stay tuned for the out of the theater reaction. And then probably Friday during the day at some point, we'll have our spoiler-free review up on the channel. So stay tuned for that. Otherwise, movies watched this past week. This might come as a surprise, seeing how we were just talking about Henry Cavill. But Chris, what movies did you watch?
Oh, it turns out I happened to watch a couple little films called The Count of Monte Cristo, The Mount of County Cristo.
Was that the night where you had your door locked the other night when you were watching The Mount?
Henry Cavill in a movie called The Mount. Listen, it's available on Netflix. Get your subscription.
What's funny is you say The Mount, and the first thing I'm thinking of is like mounting, like say a horse or something. Or I'm actually thinking, and all the Star Trek lovers in the chat will like this, the Riker maneuver when he mounts a chair by swinging that leg up.
Oh,
it's so funny.
I was thinking if you were mentioning Star Trek, you were going to talk about Anson Mount, but there you go.
Oh, that was that too. Yeah.
Count of Monte Cristo and Enola Holmes. I watched Enola Holmes last night. Count of Monte Cristo a few nights ago. Listen. I'm going to tell you, one of those I really enjoyed. The other one I thought was okay. Some of y'all could probably figure out which one is which, and you'll know for sure when we do the marquee because we will be mentioning both of those.
Oh, really? Do they both have Henry Cavill in it?
They both happen to have Henry Cavill in them.
Oh, interesting.
So,
so I will give a little bit of spoiler, at least for me. I love Count of Monte Cristo. That is one of my favorite movies. And it's weird because it's also like one of those time. I wouldn't say I'm necessarily completely against time period pieces, but
there's something about it that was really, I think the music in Count of Monte Cristo is really good. So that's a big piece. Like music is always a big piece. If you have like a nice sweeping score, you're kind of sucking me in that way.
Which is funny that it's also directed by the guy who directed Waterworld.
Which also doesn't have a bad score.
Waterworld?
If I remember correctly.
The Kevin Costner movie?
That being okay, so the only thing of Waterworld, I never actually watched the movie. I did see we did see the Universal show, and I'm wondering if the song that was in the Universal show is the same song that was in the movie.
Oh, probably.
Because if that's the case, then that's what I'm saying. It's not a bad score. But.
Oh, the score. I thought by score you meant like Rotten Tomatoes score. I was like,
no, I'm talking about music.
Are we sure we're talking about the same Waterworld?
Yeah, no. Just talking about music. I do actually want to watch Waterworld at some point because I hear it's just rough and why not?
Rough movies are always fun to commiserate with others' misery.
give it a shot. Give it a try. See what happens. But yeah, we were talking about Count of Monte Cristo. Yeah, great. Listen, great movie. You got some solid actors in that movie. Also, found it really weird that Guy Pearce was supposed to be Henry Cavill's father, or I guess in this case Jim Caviezel. I mean, don't spoil it for everybody who hasn't seen it. The movie that's over 20 years old.
It's not that much of a spoiler.
Yeah. But knowing the age difference between all these people, and I was like, there's no way like Henry Cavill is that much younger than them. Yeah, he is. Dude's like 42, 40, something like 41 right now or something like that. He was born in the 80s. And like everybody else is like 57 going on 60. I'm like, okay, yeah. I guess so. I never would have thought that.
So I mentioned the director of those two movies because that director also directed Tristan and Isolde, which is a movie that I watched this past week. Gee, I wonder why.
Because we're doing a James Franco marquee.
No, we're not. I want people to come to this channel and watch.
We're doing a marquee of whatever her name was that I told you that plays Isolde.
You know what? I wouldn't mind doing that. That just means we got to watch a couple of like underworld movies, though. So
never mind. Yeah. Henry Cavill it is.
But yeah. So I watched Tristan and Isolde. I didn't think it was that bad. Like I see the ratings on it on like Letterboxd, and I think the ratings are lower than my opinion. I mean, it's not the greatest movie, but I thought it was okay. That was entertaining. Anyways, so that is it for movies watched. Let's get into some movie news.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. This is what's happening in your world tonight.
We apologize for the interruption.
Back to you.
All right. Take a look at this here box office. And to absolutely no one's surprise, nothing has changed.
I thought like Beekeeper took number one.
Dead month. No, Mean Girls is still number one for what I'm imagining is the third week in a row.
They must be really close though, because I think like on Monday they were saying that Beekeeper just barely edged out Mean Girls.
Mean Girls just barely edged out Beekeeper.
So it was the final number tally on Monday is what?
By literally less than $300,000.
Damn.
It is very close. Mean Girls this past weekend got another 6,902,347. Beekeeper got 6,679,878. So literally like a difference of 200 something thousand. I'm not doing the math right now. Which does mean that Beekeeper is sitting at the number 2 spot. Wonka still sitting at number 3, being out for 7 weeks. Not bad. Number 4 is Migration. Number 5, Anyone But You. All of these movies are in the same exact position as they were last week. Again, January has been a pretty dead month in terms of people rushing to the theaters to see anything or any real new releases.
And it typically is like, I can't remember any major January movie releases that I've been like, ooh, that was such a good movie. It's always been like, okay. It's a good comment there.
Anyway, now here's the surprising thing. I will mention this. This is something that we called last week, and we knew it was inevitably going to happen, which is a movie that is Oscar nominated, bumping back up into the top 10 again. Poor Things was sitting at number 10 last week, is now sitting at number 6 this week. So again, when you have a situation where a movie is actually still in a run in the theater and it's nominated for any real major awards like this, you're going to see a bump up because people are going to see the nomination and go, okay, well, let me go check out this movie real quick. So Poor Things bumped up from number 10 to number 6. Number 7 is Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Number 8 is a bump up from number 18 last weekend. This is fun. Godzilla -1 is back in the top 10 again.
Oh, because they released the minus color.
Yeah.
So that was, if I remember correctly, I believe that was just for the 1 week. So it's going to probably drop back down again.
Very likely. And then, of course, again, talking about Oscar-nominated movies. But, of course, keep in mind that Godzilla was also nominated for visual effects. I don't really know if that has any bearing for most general audiences. Movie's nominated for visual effects. I need to go see that thing. I don't know if people are actually doing that more than Best Picture, but, whatever. It's in there. Number 9 is American Fiction, which was at number 12 last week. So like I was saying last week, Poor Things, American Fiction, these movies are going to probably be bumped back up into the top 10 a little bit more.
Yeah.
Zone of Interest even raised from 21 to 15. So there's a few of these movies that are getting bumped up there. And then number 10, real quick, is Night Swim.
Yeah. Like, I'm eager for a good horror movie in the theater again, but that did not sound like that was the one that I want to go. I believe, isn't there one coming up pretty soon? That
a couple others real quick to mention. Oppenheimer went from 25 to 17, and Holdovers went from 29 to 19 on the list. So
nice.
Get a little bit of bump up from some of these.
That's good.
Not bad. There you go. And your box office. Not very uneventful. That'll change this next week. We'll have at least one new movie that'll probably be at number 1 this next week.
Well, speaking of uneventful, did you hear this news about Universal's bringing back the Dark Universe? That's extremely uneventful. That's right. This is the cinematic universe that Universal was wanting to do with their Universal monsters, the old classic Dracula, Frankenstein, Wolfman, Invisible Man, Bride of Frankenstein, Creature from the Black Lagoon. Like, they wanted to bring back all of these. Oh yeah, The Mummy, the one that kicked it off. They wanted to bring back all of these movies and make a cinematic universe with them. And The Mummy was just so bad that they're like, okay, well, this isn't going to work.
Squash that. So they actually did something that most other cinematic universe creators usually don't do, Sony. And that is, after a general failure, they didn't keep going. They just kind of stopped. Which is fair.
Hey, you think that a Morbius movie is going to be an indication of how the rest of these like side Spider-Man movies are going to go?
Absolutely.
No, they're all going to be winners. Just Morbius was just that one.
We'll talk about that in a second. But
I'm gonna be honest. I have high hopes to say something good about Madam Web, but
Sydney Sweeney did a great job in that movie.
I'm not one to necessarily trash a movie, because there's people who, like, regardless of how good the movie is or how bad the movie is, there's people that worked on it. There's people that put their heart, soul, and passion into making a movie into it. And neither of us have made a movie, so I don't want to like begrudge any of those people for doing what they enjoy.
No, but it's also okay for them to have done this movie for a paycheck and to move on.
True. But I don't know if we see that you would like to work on our movie. What experience do you have? What other movies have you worked on? I haven't worked on a movie yet. This is my first one, my absolute first one. Godzilla -1, minus color, minus Godzilla, plus Morbius, plus color.
Sounds like a winner to me.
Sounds like a movie they need to release in the theater twice also.
Yeah, no, okay, so we're talking about Dark Universe. We know that this was a basically a dead franchise after that wonderful, now infamous published photo of the cast of the Dark Universe coming together for the photo op and everybody getting excited, and then The Mummy crashed and burned, and they were like, well, so now we have this cast photo that is just a random grouping of actors who never actually moved on to do anything together.
Yeah. Which, I mean, that was an impressive looking photo, even though they were not in the room at the same time. So whatever.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
I heard that.
That one photo of all of them sitting in those nice chairs or whatever, posing for like a GQ photo spread or whatever.
It's like Variety or something. I don't know.
Yeah. They weren't in the room at the same time. They were all like taken, the pictures were taken individually, and then they were photoshopped in. Like, some of them couldn't even get to the studio, so they had someone else take the picture of wherever that person was, and then they just color and light matched everything in the final photo. So,
Well, so then if I have one takeaway from the Dark Universe is that whoever edited that photo together
did a great job.
should be getting paid all of the dollars.
Yeah. Now, make this comparison to the more successful cinematic universe, Marvel, that did that gigantic photo of like everyone sitting on the bleachers.
And while they didn't get everybody, they got
damn near everyone.
They got a solid large grouping of them.
And I think that was like what the middle of it was like Stan Lee with like Kevin Feige and Robert Downey Jr. or whatever right next to him.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a cool photo.
Or Jon Favreau or something. Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I think is funny because the Dark Universe idea has failed, except Lee Whannell is seemingly doing it anyways. He's just doing it himself. So he's already done that Invisible Man remake-ish. And now he's got this Wolfman movie coming out this year. I mean, he's going to nail like all of like the Dracula, Frankenstein.
Yeah.
He'll bring them all back.
Now, we're burying the lead a little bit here. The reason we're talking about Dark Universe is the fact that they're bringing it back up as an actual attraction at Universal. Which...
It is Universal Studios in Orlando. They're creating a land that's going to have like 5 different like little movie sections. So like that will be their Wizarding World because apparently they don't have a full-fledged Wizarding World at Orlando like they do in LA.
I mean, they'll have the Wizarding World. It's different from the Dark Universe though.
Well, yeah. So Dark Universe. So there's 5 different like lands within this land, and Wizarding World's one. Dark Universe is another.
How to Train Your Dragon, Nintendo.
Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Super Nintendo World, How to Train Your Dragon, Harry Potter. So yeah, it's Harry Potter Ministry of Magic. It's not like the Wizarding World.
Yeah.
Although there is a what is that like Celestial Park, the Wizarding World, Agic. I don't know why they're putting those letters together in that way, but whatever.
Anyway, so the Dark Universe, so we're gonna have like a whole theme park basically dedicated to the Universal monsters, which I think is a neat idea. I think you can do a whole lot with that. Probably shouldn't use the Dark Universe name.
I mean,
I guess most general people who would visit the theme park, like when we talk about general people, we're talking about people who aren't like enveloped in the goings on of movies as we are. We're talking about people who, if they even knew about the Dark Universe happening at one point, have long since forgotten about it by this point. So that the term Dark Universe isn't going to mean anything to them either way. So it's probably safe to use. But for those of us who are in the know, we're like, really trying to make use of that trademark, aren't you?
Trying to get some mileage out of that name.
Get some mileage out of that trademark. You're not doing anything else with it.
Yeah.
I think it's a great idea for a theme park, though. I mean, Frankenstein, Mummy, Dracula, Creature from the Black Lagoon, Wolfman, Invisible Man. Like all these characters are going to be make a really interesting little piece of a theme park.
I wonder how that's going to work when they go in October doing the Hollywood Horror Nights.
Yeah, I mean, I think a strong part of the Halloween Horror Nights could take place there. Not that I've ever been to one of those, but I would imagine.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah. So coming soon to a Orlando Universal Studios near you, if you're near Orlando.
Literally just one location. Yeah. Just coming soon to an Orlando near you. That'd be in Florida.
And while we're on the subject of rebooting things that failed.
Oh, God.
Yep, here we go. Sony, pause for effect, has decided that it does want to resurrect that El Muerto movie that they had announced like last year or whatever.
All right. Placing bets now.
It's going to get canceled.
This news has come out. Hey, you know what? We do want to make that movie. It won't be made. It's not going to happen.
Quick side note on it. They did announce it, but they don't have Bad Bunny attached to it anymore. So they are looking for another lead actor. Whatever. It's not going to get made. I mean,
one of the smartest career moves that man has made. And I don't listen to his music. I have no idea what other choices he's made in his career.
Bullet Train was good,
I guess. But leaving El Muerto is probably a better decision than even doing Bullet Train. So there you go.
Well, I would say Bullet Train was good, except almost every time they talk about him, they always had to flash back to that wedding where everyone's like puking blood, which that's great, y'all. Thanks.
Ew.
Yeah.
I didn't sell that movie to me at all.
In all honesty, it's not that bad. I don't like puking in movies, and I was okay with it. So
gross. Yeah. Once again, I feel like we've talked about this before. Not interested.
We're at the point where right now, everybody, again, going back to kind of like what you're saying, people who are involved with movies, the development of movies, that sit here chomping at the bit, waiting for the next piece of movie news to get released so we could get it hyped or something. We are all counting down the days to where Madam Web and Craven just completely kills the Sony Spider-Man whatever verse they're doing. And all the rights just go back to Marvel, and Sony's like, you know what? We can't do anything with this. We suck at making these movies. Here you go, Marvel. Knock yourselves out. Yeah, in live action. Let's make sure we get that corrected perfectly. The Spider-Verse movies, perfect. Absolutely love them. They're doing great. Give us that one last one and we'll be happy. But the live action Spider-Man movies that don't have Spider-Man in them, no one's asking for these. No one wants these, and you're not doing a good job of them anyways. Morbius was terrible. Madam Web, again, the only thing I really latch on, haven't seen the movie yet, but I latch on to the fact that Madam Web is such a side character. There's no reason. Like, I can understand if Craven gets his own movie before Madam Web. Madam Web absolutely does not need her own movie. And watching the trailer, hearing all the talk about it as like the press tours are ramping up some more, it really doesn't sound like that she needed her own movie.
Yeah, there's just a lot going on there, especially when we find out that Dakota Johnson left her management group after the first trailer for Madam Web dropped. That's not a good sign.
But they got her on the bottle of ocean spray. Like, come on. How else are you going to sell the movie if your face isn't plastered on a side of a crayon apple?
Man, I can't wait for her to be showing up in that most Suspiria looking outfit I've ever seen.
You say that even though I know you haven't seen Suspiria.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. I know what we're talking about. Listen. I think I've seen like an image from that movie.
The finale of Suspiria, and
I think I've seen like an image
outfit that she's not wearing.
I think I've seen like a screen grab somewhere on Twitter at some point. Yeah, and I'm like, oh, that's okay. I don't want to see that movie. Yeah, I don't have high hopes for Madam Web.
This
okay.
This is what's sad. This is the best piece of marketing that Madam Web has going for it right now.
And it's not even enough. It's just an internet meme. It has really nothing even to do with Madam Web. Honestly, like, I feel like that movie is a waste of Sydney Sweeney because she should have been Black Cat and not Spider-Woman. She should have been Black Cat. I don't know why you're thinking about this. We all know she should have been Black Cat.
Well, so when I'm thinking about them based off of like how I knew these characters back in the 90s. So I'm thinking of like the Julia Carpenter Spider-Woman that was in the Iron Man cartoon during the 90s, or the Black Cat that was in the Spider-Man cartoon in the 90s.
She should have been Black Cat.
I can see that, yeah.
For Tom Holland in the MCU, she should have been Black Cat.
And here's the thing. Sydney Sweeney has a high enough star power. She could easily have made that movie. Like, it's kind of weird that Madam Web is coming out now. Like, granted, I know it was filmed like over a year ago, but the movie's coming out now. And I would easily say that Sydney Sweeney probably is a higher up celebrity or more popular or whatever than Dakota Johnson.
Currently, yeah.
So, yeah, it's kind of weird.
So we expect that Madam Web is not going to do well. I think most people expect that Madam Web is not going to do well. I'll be surprised if the movie actually turns out to be good.
Or at least watchable.
And then Craven, same boat. I expect that movie will also not do well at all because It's just got a very like uninteresting tone about it too. I mean, it's the same tone that Morbius had. They're both very dark. Like all of these Spider-Verse movies are sticking with that 2000s comic book in the dark times kind of aesthetic where everything's got to be dark and brooding and moody and everything. And it's like we've moved beyond that. Have y'all seen Thor Ragnarok? Bright and colorful. Have you seen like almost anything that the MCU has produced? Most of these movies are bright and colorful now. They're well lit. We're actually using comic book accurate costumes. Like, I don't care about dark and brooding anymore. And it's one of the reasons why like Venom is just fine to me, and why I say it feels like a 2000s era comic book movie. And so you're sitting here telling me that you're still going to try to move ahead on this El Muerto character, who, by the way, does anybody know him from the comics? Let's bring this topic of conversation back up. The answer is no. No one knows him from the comics because I think he was in one issue in like one scene fighting Spider-Man in a wrestling ring, and that's it.
If you're a big like Spider-Man comic book collector, then yes, you know who he is. But he's been in multiple issues. But
it's a very niche audience.
He's like, I'm a big Spider-Man fan, and I had no idea who he is.
He's a relatively new character, too. He's not like someone who's been deep in the trenches of Spider-Man lore for some time.
Where's all those characters?
Still relatively recent, and it's like, you just looked at a character and said, like, hey, that's one that we should make a movie out of for whatever reason you want to come up with. I don't know. But this movie's not going to happen. Madam Web's not going to do well. Kraven's not going to do well, and Venom 3 will underperform. And when I say underperform, I mean they looked at the first two Venom movies and have an amount in their heads as to what they feel like Venom 3 should produce based on the box office returns of the first two. And the Venom 3 will underperform against those numbers that they have in their head. Therefore, it will be viewed as a disappointment. You're going to have 3 movies this year that are all going to be a disappointment, and you're trying to move ahead on a character that nobody cares about.
Good luck. Where's that Morgan Freeman? Good luck.
Best of luck to you.
Yeah.
You're better off. Well, this is why I say in 2025, especially when they're still in the mindset of pushing forward on a movie like this, in 2025, Kevin Feige and Disney, Marvel Studios is going to roll up saying like, hey, here's a check. We're not negotiating on the amount of the check. You better be happy we're offering you anything for the rights back. You can't handle it anymore.
You know that thing that Warner Brothers has been doing by like ditching movies and just trashing them and not releasing them? Maybe you should try that.
No, we don't advocate for that.
I'm not actually advocating that, but I'm just as a joke.
These movies were made, except for El Muerto. That movie has not been made. You can still cancel that one.
Yeah.
These other movies have been made or are still in the process of being made or whatever. I don't know where Venom 3 is at right now, actually. But they've been made. Put them out. And let the people decide whether or not they care about them or not. But if they haven't been made yet, stop it. Stop it.
Yeah.
Give Marvel the rights to Spidey back. All of them.
Anyways, let's move on to something a little more positive. Has anyone seen this news? I feel like this has gone like completely under the radar. And I keep seeing like little bits and pieces. And the more and more I'm seeing of this, the more and more I'm like, this is going to be awesome. So apparently, I'm going to go ahead and let's change some stuff up here so I can screen share.
Oh, this is different.
This is different. It's the same exact format we had with the Marvel trivia the other night. Anyway, so apparently there's going to be a Saturday Night Live origin movie called SNL 1975, which is the year that Saturday Night Live came out, first started. Which this sounds amazing. Like this is going to be really good because, I mean, that's a lot of top tier talent that's in this. But the cast listing on this is really good. So I just wanted to go through here, like Gabriel LaBelle playing Lorne Michaels. And he was the kid from Fabelmans.
How old is he? And how old was Lorne in that time?
I'm gonna take a guess that, I mean, he's old enough to play a young Lorne Michaels. I mean, like, I guess that's why they're using these pictures because I can kind of see it. There's definitely going to be some makeup, different hairstyle, and whatnot.
Take the smile off his face, and you've got a copy paste kind of face there.
Almost,
that almost feels like.
Yeah. So I think that's a good casting right there.
You said a kid from Fabelmans, and I'm thinking like, wasn't Lorne Michaels like maybe late 20s, early 30s when
in 75? Probably. Yeah, Cooper Hoffman playing Dick Ebersol.
Yep. Okay.
Of course, Cooper Hoffman was in was it Licorice Pizza?
Yeah.
The son of Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can kind of see it again. Different hairstyle, even though it looks like it's actually this one actually looks like it's the same hairstyle. We just need to flip it.
Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise, I can see that. This one's pretty good. Matt Wood as John Belushi.
Okay.
I mean, get rid of the beard, obviously, and I can see it, like especially in his eyes.
Mm-hmm.
I can see John Belushi in there. So that's pretty good casting. Ella Hunt playing Gilda Radner.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I could see that as well. This is going to be interesting because Gilda Radner was always like really good at just like super quirky kind of characters. She like, for comparison right now, I would say Gilda Radner was kind of a cross between Heidi Gardner and what's her face?
Kristen Wiig?
No. The weird girl.
Kate McKinnon?
No. The current weird girl.
Oh yeah.
I want to say Sarah.
Sarah, yeah.
Okay, Sarah.
Her name's Sarah.
Damn it, what is her name? I know, like I follow her on Twitter and she's got a different name.
We're gonna sit in silence till you figure this out.
Well, Sarah Squirm is her name on there. What is her freaking name? Oh, that's Sarah Sherman. Yeah, so that's who I think of like Gilda Radner is a cross between Heidi and Sarah Sherman. Good Lord, I can't talk tonight.
Tonight?
Yeah, I was ready for that. This one is probably one of the best casts of this.
Spot on.
Corey Michael Smith, if you're not familiar, he played the original Riddler in the Gotham TV show as he was slowly becoming Riddler.
Spot on.
That is some good casting right there.
Yeah, that's fantastic. One, he looks like Chevy Chase younger. Two, I think he's going to do a fantastic job portraying him just in general.
I'm just wondering how he's going to portray him.
Chevy Chase is wondering how he's going to get portrayed also, I bet.
Yeah. That's the thing. That's the thing to always keep in mind. If you're going to act like an asshole, just always remember that at some point someone may make a movie and they want to be faithful. Might not look good. Correction.
If you act like an asshole and you're in the popular public eye, you might be portrayed in a movie later. All of y'all in the chat, none of y'all are being portrayed in a movie. I'm just going to be honest about that.
Well, unless y'all
we're probably not either.
Really popular in the public eye, and then someone wants to make a movie. I mean,
let's not beat around the bush. We're not going to be made into a movie either.
I mean, that would be kind of cool. I've always been told, like when I was younger, that I looked like Val Kilmer, like a younger Val Kilmer. Sure, I guess.
Leave that one alone.
As you should.
Yeah, we're not being made into a movie.
Anyways, Dylan O'Brien playing Dan Aykroyd. I mean, maybe. I mean, it's going to be kind of hard because it definitely needs to change up the hair, do some makeup and stuff. But
I can see it.
Possibly. I'm trying to think back of like the young Dan Aykroyd.
Dan who?
Dan Aykroyd.
Aykroyd?
Yes. That's what I said.
Sure. I can see it.
Jane, you dirty slut. This one I like. Lamorne Morris playing Garrett Morris. And I can't remember. I'm almost certain.
I like that.
Oh, okay. They are not related.
Yeah. Similar last name, obviously, but not actually
Well,
related.
that's the only reason I thought they were related. Let me make sure I make that loud and clear. The only reason I thought they were related is because of last name.
Yes. No, I like this. This is a good cast. Plus, I know I've seen him in multiple things. Especially he's probably mostly known from New Girl, being a New Girl, but yeah, he's really good. I think this is a really good choice.
So Garrett Morris, we've seen him a couple of times. He played Ant-Man in like an old Avengers sketch. So he also had a cameo in the Ant-Man movie as a taxi driver.
Mm-hmm.
You might also remember him from that movie, The Stuff. He was Chocolate Chip Charlie.
Oh, yeah.
Whose mouth or head ripped open in the radio station. Yeah. So, yeah, I like Garrett Morris. Speaking of Jane Curtin, Kim Matula playing Jane Curtin. I can see it.
Yep.
Again, a lot of these is going to be kind of cool. I like the idea of seeing these popular actors. We're used to seeing them out in the open, popular, current, contemporary styles and looks. And then we're going to throw them back to 1970s looks. So specifically in this photo, look at the difference in the hairstyle.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, most all of these, you put them in that same hairstyle, they're going to look good. Yeah,
70s had a very specific style to it that we can, looking back, very much tell, and it'll be interesting to see all these actors portraying those roles.
Yeah. Emily Ferrin playing Lorraine Newman. This is probably another one of those, the hair, because the only issue I have with this, and it's mainly just the photos that they're using here, Emily Ferrin's face looks a little too round, while Lorraine Newman is very long. But I also think it's because of how Lorraine Newman's hair in this photo is framing her face.
And also, again, yeah, you're just talking about photos. When it comes to filming the actual movie, these might not be issues at all. I wouldn't really call that an issue to begin with, but
anyways, let's go back. But yeah, that is the casting for this. And this movie sounds like it's going to be wild. I am interested in this. So
I wonder also if this sets them up to, I'm not saying that there's going to be a sequel called SNL 1976, but if this sets them up to do
every year,
later SNL movies, where SNL movies, movies about the SNL cast at certain pivotal periods of time throughout SNL's history, when do you bring in your Eddie Murphys and your Adam Sandlers? At what decade do we start producing those kinds of movies? Or other big names, Phil Hartman and everybody else who's very popularly known from SNL.
I was going to say, at this rate, by the time they get to the early 2000s SNL, they will have someone in that movie playing Kenan Thompson while Kenan Thompson is still a current cast member on SNL.
Exactly. And also, if you do this right, you could actually retain the same actor playing Lorne Michaels throughout all of them, which should be kind of interesting.
Yeah, but you got to stay on top of making those. You can't do the Stranger Things crap where you wait 50 years in between, and now the next season of Stranger Things, all the kids are geriatric.
I mean, it depends on what the next year they want to cover is and how long they spend between those two movies.
Yeah. Jason Schwartzman as Bill Murray. So I kind of like that on a couple of levels. One, I think I could kind of see that as far as Jason Schwartzman being able to convey Bill Murray's personality, but I also like it because it's a fun jab at Rushmore, where the two of them played two guys competing for the love of one woman. So that would be fun.
This is accurate. Steve Martin could play himself. He looks exactly the same.
Speaking of which, I have finally completed all 3 seasons of Only Murders in the Building, and I'm going to have to go back. But anytime my brother has talked about how good of a show that is, very much so. If you like Steve Martin and Martin Short, the two of them together, brilliant. But add Selena Gomez in there, and it's such a good trio. I love the three of them.
I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's a good show. It's played like a whodunit, so if you like whodunits, watch that show and play along. Like, what was it? I nailed the first season. I got the killer like after like a couple episodes, so I guessed that one. I was kind of sort of around the second season. I kind of sort of said it, but I wasn't 100% positive or locked in or confident, but I did mention it. And the third season, I got half of it right, I would say, ish. But yeah, it's been fun because he's been over here watching me watch these episodes as I'm trying to like piece it together and figure it out. And yeah, he's doing that. Hey, I think it's so-and-so. Is it?
Is it? I don't know.
But yeah, go watch those. They're on Hulu. They're a lot of fun. But some great lines in that. Keenan should take over for Lorne. Yeah, probably.
I would love that just because, again, I grew up with Kenan Thompson on all that.
Yeah.
And so going from, basically being one of the major players on Kid SNL to running the show for adult SNL, I think would be a fantastic career move for him.
And the first thing he does is he's going to bring on Kel.
Maybe.
I mean, I don't know why not. Unless Kel just doesn't want to do it.
You would see a lot more of Kel probably, but I don't know if he would be brought on like an actual cast member. I gotta guess the demand for the actors on there is gotta be like insane because they are rehearsing constantly. Writers are always writing. They're always coming up like they have to turn around shows that are making fun of like pop culture stuff that's happening in the news within like minutes of that news dropping. Well, that's also why you see most of the cast is usually made up of comedians who can think of things on the spot, and they're also in the writer's room along with the other writers too.
Yeah. Anyways, let's move on to the main topic. It was announced that Milly Alcock has been casted as Supergirl in the new James Gunn DC Studios, or was it DC Universe?
DC Universe.
The DCU. This is some good casting. I don't have a side picture of her, so I'll just put up the thumbnail again. But yeah.
She looks like Supergirl to me.
I'm trying to think out of everyone who has played Supergirl at some point. I think probably my favorites have to be, of course, you got the original Helen Slater. You've got Smallville's, technically Smallville had two, but only one of them was truly Supergirl. That was Laura Vandervoort. And then now you got Milly Alcock. Sasha Calle was okay. But
I liked Sasha Calle in Flash. I thought for what the role required, she did actually a fantastic job.
But Milly Alcock here, she looks like she's going to be a great Supergirl.
Yeah.
I guess there was also Melissa. Was it Melissa Benoist? Benoit.
Yeah.
Which she was okay. Like I mostly knew her from Glee. Because I had a girlfriend at the time that made me watch all of Glee, which I mean, I'm gonna be honest, it wasn't that bad of a show. Just
I mostly knew her from Whiplash.
Melissa. Oh, she was in Whiplash? I need to go back and watch that again. It's been a while since I've seen that.
Yep.
But yeah, I think Milly Alcock is going to look good as Supergirl.
Yes.
Now, the only thing is, I don't know her from anything else because, call back to something I said at the beginning of the show, we don't watch medieval fantasy, so therefore neither one of us have been interested in watching
well, this case would be House of the Dragon.
Yeah.
Which we haven't watched Game of Thrones, so we're not going to watch House of the Dragon either.
Yeah. I like this casting. I think it's going to be good. Now, I don't know exactly what the story is. I'm not familiar with the comic book series that this movie is going to be based off of.
Mm-hmm.
I also don't know where this fits in the timeline of her relation to Superman. Because and me and my brother here were talking about this last night or whatever, the night before. depending on which DC movie or show or cartoon or comic you're reading, sometimes she's older than Clark, sometimes she's younger. So it's kind of weird. Like, I think in Smallville, she was older than Clark, but like in the Superman cartoon from the 90s, she was younger than Clark. Or at least she looked younger.
Or is this going to be a situation where she's older than Clark, but because of some timey-wiminess, she's going to appear younger than him, which we've seen quite a few times too.
Yeah, in some cases, she's been like in suspended animation, so she could have like this whole Captain America Steve Rogers thing that she's been frozen for years. So while she still looks like she's 19, she's actually like 68. Could have said one more number, but I didn't want to.
Nice. Yeah, so we will find out some of this information come Superman Legacy being released, since she is being cast as Supergirl specifically first for that movie as well as for her own movie. She will make an appearance in Superman Legacy first. But interesting conversation online about this, as director of Argyle, which we will be seeing tomorrow, Matthew Vaughn, has made an interesting statement talking about how it's weird that you have somebody casted for a role before the director is even picked out for the movie, because a lot of times the director has a very heavy hand in casting for the movie they're directing. Understandably so, you know why they do that. You know, the director's kind of always, you know, keeping control over what the set looks like or where the story is going and all that kind of stuff. But it's interesting to me that he's making that kind of a statement about this situation when I'm pretty sure the MCU has done the same thing, wherein characters are casted and they're going to be the lead of their own movie, but they're first appearing in other movies. The first one that comes to mind being Chadwick Boseman playing Black Panther. He was going to go on to actually portray Black Panther in a Black Panther movie, and we all knew that was happening. But at the same time, his first appearance was in Captain America Civil War, which we'll be watching tonight on our Patreon. If you're not signed up for the Patreon, it's the $5 tier, and you can join us for a Captain America Civil War watch along tonight. That is a natural plug, and I am happy about that. But the point is that this happens all the time, especially as we get more and more into these big franchises and we get deeper in them. You're going to have characters who are casted who are going to be leads of their own movie, but their first appearance is somewhere else. And it's not that uncommon, and it's not going to be that uncommon.
You said that there wasn't a director yet. You're talking about for the Supergirl movie.
Yeah.
Because James Gunn's doing Superman Legacy.
Right, yeah, we're talking about for the Supergirl movie. There's not a director picked out for that movie, so that's where Matthew Vaughn's comments were coming from.
So I wonder if this may be, I mean, obviously kind of like what you were saying. This is something that Marvel has already done, and I'm wondering if this is a special circumstance where you have, for all intents and purposes, a showrunner who just knows, he's looking at the bigger picture of everything. And like, if this was just a one-off movie, if the Supergirl was just a one-off movie that wasn't connected to any other movies, then yeah, they would be, the director of that movie would have a hand in this. But because these movies, specifically in Marvel and now DC, are all being run as basically individual episodes of an entire series, you would have someone like Kevin Feige or James Gunn as the showrunners who are making that decision ahead of time, because they're looking at the bigger picture later on. Like, yes, we're going to cast her here. She'll be good in her own movie too. I casted her in Superman Legacy knowing she's also going to be good and be able to sustain her own movie later on.
Yeah, and the thing about that too is it is actually, in my mind, it actually just makes sense to go ahead and have that casting, regardless of the fact that she's going to be in Superman Legacy first. It just makes sense to have that casting, because now what you're doing is you're bringing in a director who's already seen or has inside knowledge to seeing how she works as Supergirl on the set of Superman Legacy. You're going to bring in a director who goes, I see exactly what she's going for. I can work with that. I know exactly how to make this movie. And so you're going to cast that, or you're going to cast that director. You're going to hire that director. And then on top of that, you now have a leg up on casting for the rest of the Supergirl movie, because you already have your central star. You already have your main star of the movie. Now you can cast around that star, and you have what we like to refer to as those casting situations where screen testing is what I'm saying. Screen testing, where you test other actors and how they match up to the main person in the lead who you already have set in that role. And I think it just makes more sense in this situation that, yeah, you would have her picked out for Supergirl before you have the director picked out for that movie. Why not? Like, it just everything indicates that makes the most sense. So I'm kind of curious as to where Matthew Vaughn was kind of really coming from when he was thinking those thoughts and having those comments.
Yeah. Anyways, I like this casting. Again, I think she looks good. The thing is, this Superman Legacy movie is like super jam-packed with people already. So I want to start seeing images once they start filming to see how exactly it all comes together. I mean, I have faith in James Gunn, but I mean, it's kind of hard when you don't know anything else about what they're putting together, what they're doing, what it looks like, what the actual vision is.
Real quick, I have another side note about Matthew Vaughn. He's just in the news right now, apparently, with Argylle coming up. Yes, he was doing like press tour stuff and everything. So people were asking him various questions about various things. But apparently he had a comment at some point where he was expressing interest in doing Superman Red Son with Henry Cavill back as Superman in that regards. And golly, I've never heard anything that wasn't going to happen more in my life. Can't foresee that falling through. So I don't know why he even brought it up. I think
just putting it out there, just something that we could potentially want, but we'll never get. So
outside of a DC multiverse storyline, which they will inevitably do at some point. I mean, we've already seen that in the DC EU with like Flash and stuff. Mm-hmm. But outside of doing like a multiverse storyline later on down the road, when James Gunn feels confident that it would do well, I don't see anybody from the current DC EU coming back outside of the ones that we know will come back, like Waller, Amanda Waller, and other various random people in the Suicide Squad. Everyone else, brand spanking new. I don't see them doing a storyline with Henry Cavill until probably like further on down the road. And as long as Henry Cavill is like, yeah, it's fine, I'll come back. It's okay.
Yeah. Anyways, that is going to do it for the show tonight. So let's go over a couple of things real quick. Of course, as we've already mentioned, tonight here, like in about an hour, if you are part of the $5 tier on our Patreon, you can hop over to the Discord, join us in the voice chat. We will be doing Captain America Civil War Watch Along, which is a fun movie, and I cannot wait to watch it again because I haven't seen it in like a month.
Yes.
So yes, come join us over there for that. Tomorrow night, keep an eye out. We'll have our out of the theater reaction to Argylle. Friday, we should have a spoiler-free review for Argylle up. And then next Friday, the 9th, we'll be doing the marquee Henry Cavill movies. So I'll put the list in Discord. I think we're still trying to finalize like one particular movie if it needs to be on the list.
We can put the list up. It's fine.
Okay. So we'll get that up here in a little bit, I guess. So anyways, that is what we have coming up. Yep. What else do we need to do? I think we're good. So
just hang out with us tonight.
Thank you, everyone who's watching live. If you're not watching live, let us know your thoughts, feelings, and opinions down in the comments. While you're down there, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. Even if you're watching live, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe as well if you haven't. Follow us on social media at the Cinefanatics on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, those places.
Everywhere.
And then you can follow me at RCA Reacts on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. I will have TikTok stuff coming out. I know I don't have anything there yet. But TikTok and Letterboxd. And then also youtube.com/RCA Reacts. I've done 3 videos up there now, doing the Billie Eilish reaction to Bad Guy. Did the falafel burger, peanut butter burger, And then yesterday released my tier ranking of Green Day's Dookie. So go watch that. Next week's going to be fun. I'll kind of tease a little bit. This was an idea I actually had for Cinefanatics because it does involve a movie. Oh, stop it. You don't have any hairs or freckles on your wrist. So it does involve a movie, and I'm really curious to see how this is going to play out because basically it's a movie that was made a long time ago, but is it predicting the future, and how well does it predict the future? This should be a lot of fun. So that is coming up Tuesday next week.
And you can follow me at Chris Adams MLP on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd, as well as twitch.tv/Chris Adams MLP, now that everyone's clicked off and hasn't heard me say any of that.
Cool. Anyways, thank you all for watching. We appreciate everyone being here. We'll see you later. Bye-bye now. Bye.
See ya.
Bye-bye.